Okay, so in the previous section, we used FabFilter Pro MB to kind of rebalance the frequencies in the song. We used it to fatten up the bottom end to control the upper frequencies that were getting too harsh and that were fatiguing to our ears. And now I want to move on to one of my favorite plugins of all time, and it's FabFilter Saturn. So usually you would probably use Saturn in mixing because you can use different distortion algorithms that it has to maybe create some amp effects for guitars, distortion on synths, on bass lines and kicks and things like that. But I love using it for mastering. It's such a powerful and flexible plugin, and you can do so much with it. So basically, it's like a multi-band distortion, compression, EQ unit all in one. So here you have tone controls, level, you have the drive for the amount of distortion. You can select the type of distortion that you want. There is a feedback knob and then the frequency of the feedback. And then there's this little cool dynamics knob here, which is like a compressor. You can get some really crazy pumping effects with that. You have a mix knob, so you can do like parallel distortion, parallel compression, and you can do that for each separate band. So very, very powerful stuff. All right. So let's dive right into it. First of all, I want the high quality mode to be on. The output is set to -1. Of course, we can change that. Let's set it to 0 for now. And then we can change it after we're done. There's also a master mix knob as well here. So we can use that if we maybe go overboard here. We can use the mix knob to mix in just a little bit of the effect with the dry signal. All right, so basically what I want to do with this is I want to add some richness to the lower mids, and also I want to kind of add some thickness and smoothness to the top end as well, and add some color as well. So I'm going to separate the bands, and I'm going to listen to the loudest section and just set each band as I listen to, I want to separate the bottom end, separate the low mids, the upper mids, and then the very, very high frequencies. Okay, so I'm happy with these crossover points. These are the low frequencies. Then I really want to focus on these low mids to add some richness and thickness. I want to color the upper mids a little, the upper mids a little bit, and then smooth out the top end just a little bit as well. So here you can see I turned off all the processing for each band, because once you turn it on, it starts to color the sound right away. So I'm going to turn them off, and I'll work on each frequency on its own. So we can start off with the lower mids, which are particularly a band that I want to focus on. So I'm going to bring up span, play the song in the loudest section, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a lot of drive and then select which kind of distortion I want to use. So we can select like clean tube, warm tube. We're not going to use broken tube, clean tape, warm tape, old tape. So we can go through them and see which one sounds the best. Yeah, I like this warm tape setting here. So I'm going to set the drive. I'm going to push it up pretty high, and then I can use the mix knob to mix a little bit of it, because I'm also going to push this dynamics a little bit as well to glue that band together. And you'll hear what it does as I push it. Okay, so right around 43 to 45%, I set the mix for this frequency band at 43%. So again, you can hear I pushed the dynamics knob up, pushed the drive up. It really warmed up that section and glued it together and made it a lot more present, a lot richer, and a lot thicker. All right, so now I want to listen to it in context with everything else. Okay, so I've set it at, just tweaked it a little bit, set it at 48%, and then I also turned up the entire band by about 2.5 dB. So again, added a lot of richness and a lot of thickness to the track. Now we can do the same thing with the rest of the band. So you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to color the sound, maybe rebalance things. Again, this is another powerful plugin because it has tone and volume controls for each band. So you can use it as another tonal control, like another kind of EQ to rebalance the frequencies around. And I'm going to go through and do the same thing with the rest of the bands. And I'm also going to show you how to use these tone sliders that we have here as well, because this is kind of like an EQ for each individual band. Very, very powerful stuff. So let's do the upper mids now. I like this warm tube setting for this. It really colors it nicely and smooths it out. Of course, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to mix in a little bit of the effect, and I'm going to add dynamics to it as well. So add some pumping and some glue to this section. Okay, I like where that is there. So 34%, and I took the drive up to around 67%, pushed up the dynamics a lot. So again, we're doing kind of parallel compression, parallel distortion here. And then you can see here, I tweaked the tone on this band. So these are, it tells you here, this is the bass, mid, treble, and then presence. So a lot of control that you can do here. So I reduced the mids a little bit, took a little bit of the muddiness out, because once you push this up, you're introducing harmonics, and you might introduce muddy and harsh frequencies. So you can take care of them with these tone sliders. Okay, so let's move on to the top end now. And again, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so I like where that is for these bands. We can try and do a little bit of the same for the low frequencies. The only problem is with the low frequencies, they can distort very, very quickly and not in a good way. So we have to be very, very gentle with this band. All right, and I'm happy with these settings here. So you can hear when I turn the dynamics up too much, we start getting some audible distortion. And then the same thing happens if we push the drive too much as well. And we start getting that boxy kind of sound that we don't want. So let's compare and see if what we've done makes it sound better. And I do believe that it does. I'm going to turn the plugin on and off. Again, you can do that, I believe, from within the plugin itself. Okay, no, you cannot. So let's unsolo this one band, and I'm going to disable and enable the plugin to compare. Right? So awesome, awesome plugin. Really brings the entire song to life. And now the awesome thing is that you can control how much of it you want with this master mix knob. So again, more flexibility. So I'm going to do that. Actually, I'm going to put it at 0 and then bring it up to see how much of it that I need. Okay, and right there at 81% works perfectly for me. Again, really powerful plugin. You can get very creative with this, use it on your masters, and I guarantee you cannot go wrong.